Hello, listener. The fact you hear this means you're alive. If you're new here, consider subscribing and comment below where you're listening from. Let's begin the story. Day 384. I'm Commander Reed Lawson, acting CO of the USS Cascadia BB-73, the last US battleship still sailing. Acting doesn't mean much now, but I keep saying it. The logs still matter. We're a reactivated museum piece that refused to sink. One boiler runs clean, the other hisses and wants a wrench more than I like. Some sensors wake if you ask them nicely. The 16-inch guns stay cold as a grave. We run a lean plant, one turbine at a time. Batteries topped when the sun cooperates. At night we go dark. No deck lights, no beacons, tape over stray LEDs. The living last out here. That's the danger. We have 62 fit for duty and 19 who aren't. Kids, 2 elders, 3 with injuries that won't heal right. Watches rotate in 4-hour blocks. No hero shifts. Fatigue kills faster than hunger. Food is steady and plain. Water is the lifeblood of this ship. The evaporators hate the very salt they were built for. We baby them. We lose a gasket every few days and rebuild it out of PTFE tape and patience. I didn't take the captain's cabin. I rack in a junior bunk. The crew finds me, bridge at dawn, engine room at mid-watch, comms bay after sunset. I sign ration slips, set course, and write the parts of the truth that won't knock the air out of the room. Rules are simple. Run dark, run silent. Don't chase flares. We're a waypoint, not a port. If we help, it's fast and clean, and we don't tie ourselves to anybody's dock. We've seen what docks turn into. I keep one private rule off the board. Find the Polaris. My son Evan left on a NOAA ship during the first evacuations. The last coordinates pointed toward Palmyra Atoll. The ocean swallows a lot of truth, not all of it. I keep a thin line out for him in every decision, and I keep that line clear of the crew. This morning the sea is flat and the air has that clean bite before the wind turns. Engineering reports a small steam leak on the port feed, manageable. Comms is quiet. That's good and bad. Quiet means fewer traps, but fewer chances at the luck we need. We'll hold south by west for 12 more hours, then drift overnight. If weather stacks up, we'll tuck behind the islands and let the current walk us past the shipping lane. Simple plan. Simple plans live longer. I chalk a note on the board before I secure the bridge. No new lights. If we need to be seen, we'll choose how. A glow on the horizon isn't enough to make us reveal ourselves. The helmsman glances over. Same orders for the dog watch, sir? Same orders, I say, and wake me if the sea changes its mind. We were tied up in Puget Sound when the alerts shifted from drills to screams. The first tone sounded like a test, the second a voice that cut off too late. By the third, the parking lot was bare and hands clawed at the pier fence, white through the chain link. Tour staff did what they could, locking the gate, trying to turn people away with soft words and clipboards. Clipboards went first, soft words next. The crowd surged like water and tape can't hold back the ocean. We pulled the gangway in and secured the entry deck. Our duty captain kept checking his phone even after the bars went gray, waiting for orders that never came, reading the same stale lines about continuity and sheltering in place. We all wanted orders. None arrived. A tug operator climbed the ladder without asking. "You'll need me," he said, coughing into a rag like a man who'd swallowed diesel his whole life. He was right. He stayed. We took 12 souls that day. Navy families, a clinic nurse with a badge she wouldn't remove, a boy clutching a plastic ferry. We stopped at 12 because we had to. The rest watched us cast off, shouting names we'll never forget. Some tried to swim. We threw life rings, then hauled them back. It felt like murder, looked like seamanship. That feeling stuck. The captain wanted to hold tight, wait for clarity. Clarity broke first. The base radios turned to static. A tower controller read a landing sequence, never finished. A man screamed on channel 16, then laughed like he was crying. We slipped lines at dusk, engines barely making steam. We circled the sound for 2 days, hunting a signal. We found a marina ablaze, a ferry adrift, car doors open, hazards ticking to dead. We didn't stop. Couldn't. I said it loud on the intercom. We are not a port. That sentence became law. We wrote it into the duty checklist, added it to the rules board on the bridge. Next time someone begged room for one more, I pointed to the board. We're a waypoint. We keep moving. Not mercy, not cruelty, but the only way we stayed afloat. The rule held. At night, lights dead, the sound flat as oil, you could hear the hands on that fence. The chair came with the logbook, not the cabin. When the captain stopped coming to the bridge, no one said a word. We kept the duty roster turning, signed what needed signing, waited for someone older to make it official. No one did. On day 11, I wrote my name on the top line of the deck log, slid the grease pencil into my pocket. That was the ceremony. I didn't move my gear. The captain's cabin stayed latched, blinds half down. A coffee ring on the desk like a watermark. My bunk stayed 2 decks down. Same dented locker, same chipped mug. Helps to remember I'm temporary, even if temporary has lasted a year. The crew knows where to find me. Bridge at dawn, engine room at night. Command on a ship this size isn't speeches, it's lists. Power by circuit, water by tank, meals by head count, ammo by locker and type, people by shift and sleep debt. I walk the same loop daily with a notebook. If something repeats, it becomes a rule. If a rule saves us, it gets tape on the board. I learned delegation the hard way. Early on, I tried to be everywhere. That lasted 3 days, ended with skipped meals, nearly passing out at the helm. Now my deputy runs the deck, the chief owns the plant, and the medic calls rest breaks like a tyrant. I set headings, choose when to say no. Most days saying no is the job. There's a difference between being in charge and being loud. I don't pound tables. I ask questions until the story's simple enough to steer. What fails if we do this? What fails if we don't? When the answers are equal, we wait. Movement isn't progress out here. The crew keeps me honest. Harris will say, "Sir, that's optimism," when I push luck. Miller will shake his head at a pretty chart. Walker never smiles, but he'll slip a spare O-ring in my hand before I go to engines just in case. They've all seen me wrong. They've also seen me change my mind in time. That matters more than being right the first time. At night, I write the part of the truth we can carry. Not the screams, the fence, the ferry with hazards. The truth that keeps hands steady, eyes open. We are afloat. We are moving. We know why. I didn't plan on the chair. I plan on the next line in the log. And tonight, that line is a course change. The radio pulled a whisper from the noise. 3 short bursts, then 1 long. Not a voice, not weather. I'm taking the helm to find out. Night is when we earn our luck. We shut down what we can and dim what we must. The bridge glows like a dying coal, just enough to read the compass and the engine gauges. Tape covers stray lights. Even the coffee makers wear black electrical patches. The sea returns the favor and keeps our shape hidden unless you are on top of us. We drift when we can. Drifting saves fuel and makes less noise. The water tells us which way to face. If the swell builds from the west, we lie bow on and let the hull ride. If the wind shifts, we shift with it. No sudden throttle, no hard turns. The ocean hates panic and punishes it. Signals are a language we choose, not a reflex. Flares are out. They draw the wrong kind of eyes. We use lanterns with hoods and a shutter made from a baking sheet. The kids helped punch the holes and sand the edges. A short blink means hold. 2 means come home. 3 means cut it and run. The radio stays mostly quiet. When we do speak, it is short and plain with no names and no promises. We keep a second set of rules for strange lights. If we see a glow on the horizon, we watch for 10 minutes and take notes. If it moves like a ship but never calls, we mark it and stay wide. If it moves like a lure, bright then dark, we turn the other way. We have learned that some people fish with hope as bait. I post 2 lookouts on the forward deck and 1 aft. Harris keeps a hand on the bell lanyard even though we never ring it anymore. Old habits calm new nerves. Walker carries the thermal scope. He hates it, says it lies when the air is heavy, but he uses it anyway. Miller writes bearings in grease pencil on the rail, where the night watch can feel the numbers under their palms. Just before midnight, the breeze freshens and the swell takes on a longer run. The air smells like rain that can't make up its mind. The ship eases into it with the grace of something much smaller. We are heavy, but we know how to be quiet. That little signal from earlier taps at the edge of thought. 3 short, 1 long. It sits there like a knock you think you heard while half asleep. I tell the radio watch to log any repeat and wake me without debate. At 1:40, a new light shows low and far off our port bow. 1 blink, then nothing. We hold the drift and wait. Dawn comes gray and honest. The light never returns, so we keep the drift and slide south until the islands cut the wind. By mid-morning, a big hull sits on the edge of haze. High bow, squared stern, paint scoured to chalk. The name is a ghost, but the shape is clear. A gas carrier, riding light. Could be empty, Miller says. Empty can still help, I answer. We close slow, engines just above idle. No movement on deck, no flags. The deckhouse windows stare like blank eyes. We circle once outside, throwing range, and watch the shadows behind the superstructure. Nothing moves but loose cable. We put a team over the side. Walker leads with a pry bar and a coil of line. Harris follows with a small tool bag and a meter. I stay on the bridge and keep our shadow off their ladder. They find what we hoped for. Filters still dry in storage, boxes of gloves, CO2 cartridges, sealed food tins in a locker someone missed, and a service generator that turns after a careful pull and gives us a clean hour of charge. Not diesel, not gas, but it feeds our batteries just the same. Any hazards? I ask. Cold boxes are empty, Walker says. No gas, no pressure. Smells like rust and old air. We take what we can carry without stripping the ship to bone. We leave a note with our call sign and a promise to trade if anyone returns. I don't know if that promise means anything, but I write it anyway. It keeps the line between salvage and theft where I can see it. By afternoon, we nose into a quiet lagoon for shelter. The water looks wrong. Too green, too smooth. The smell hits before the engine order reaches stop. Sweet, then rotten. The surface shivers with a film that parts around our bow like spilled paint. Back her out, I say. Slow. Harris points at slick patches curling toward the intakes. It's a bloom, he says. Bad one. We reverse with a light hand. The gauge on the watermaker ticks upward as if it can taste the change. Miller throws a bucket and brings up a rope of algae that looks like wet wool. We dump it clear. The medic stands by with masks we never wanted to need at sea. We clear the mouth of the lagoon before the wind turns. The sea outside is rougher, but it breathes. I mark the chart with an X and a single word. Poison. At sunset, the sky goes copper. The ship smells like metal and soap again. Then the radio clicks twice, soft as knuckles on a door. The click comes again, then 3 short taps, 1 long, a pause, and coordinates spoken by a tired synth voice. Not human, not random. A machine trying to be clear. Record and repeat, I tell the radio watch. He plays it back once, volume low, as if we might scare it away. The numbers sit right on the edge of our chart. Open water well south of us, nowhere near a usual lane. After the coordinates, there's a single word cut by static. Polaris. I don't sit. I lean over the chart and draw a small box around the spot. The name pulls all the heat out of the room. Could be a lure, Harris says. Could be a loop, Miller adds. Could be my son, I say, and the room goes quiet the right way. We don't chase flares, we don't rush ghosts. We do this with a plan. I order a slow turn to south-southwest and a fuel check. The chief engineer calls up with the number I expected and the number I feared. We can make the box if the wind helps and the sea behaves. We run by daylight at low power and drift by night. I don't broadcast. I listen. Every 4 hours, the signal returns. Same code, same voice, same brief name. I write each time down in the log, then underline the word once. I don't let myself underline it twice. On the second day, a broken swell makes the ship roll a little too long. The kids on the mess deck start counting seconds between creaks like they're making a game of it. Games help. Adults fix the things they can touch. Children fix the air. Near noon, we meet a raft with a bent mast and a blue tarp. No people. A backpack lashed to the stern with a name tag bleached to almost nothing. I want to read it as Evan, and that is reason enough to look away. We take the water jug and a flare gun and leave the rest. Afternoon brings cloud and a silver light that hides the horizon. The radio gives us the taps and the word again. Polaris. I say it in my head so I can hate it less if it isn't him. Before dusk, the sea smooths out and the air goes still. That's how it is before a weather line or before luck. We run a listening watch only. No lantern drills. No talk that doesn't need saying. Night comes clean and black. Stars punch through thin cloud like nails. At 21:10, the voice returns, but something rides under it. A faint scrape, then a second word I can't catch. Again, I say. The watch plays it back. Scrape, taps, long coordinates. Then under Polaris, a child's breath close to a mic and two quiet syllables that push heat into my throat. Dad. The speaker clicks off. The room holds still. Headings? Harris asks. Make your best line, I say, and bring the sea to heel. We chase. We break our own rule. For him, we don't vote. We nod. It keeps speeches short and heads clear. I call the core crew to the mess table and lay out the chart. The line to the coordinates runs through empty water and a thin band of weather that likes to form without warning. No docks, no cover. Only sea. I state the problem first. The signal could be a trap. It could be a loop. It could be my son. We have fuel for the run if we drift each night and keep one turbine cold. Food is fine. Water is tight but workable if we treat filters like glass. The deputy leans in and checks the spread with a pencil. We can angle for current, he says. Take what the ocean gives. The chief engineer flips his notebook to the last page and shows me the number I feared. The spare pump we trust the most is whining. It will last days, not weeks, if we keep feed steady and cool. The medic watches us and says nothing until the room calms. People can handle risk, she says. They can't handle lies. Tell them it's for a child and for a ship. Both are true. I nod and write that line down so I don't try to improve it later. We assign roles like we always do. Harris has the bridge team. Walker takes the bow watch with the thermal scope he hates. Miller owns the radio log and the backup lantern. The deputy holds the night rounds. The chief engineer keeps the plant slow and gentle. The medic runs rest and quiet. I set 3 clear rules for the push. No one boards anything that floats without a slow circle and 2 pairs of eyes on them. We show no lights unless collision is near. If we must speak on the air, we use plain words, no names. Our shape stays small and our wake stays thin. I go to the bridge and read the order to the ship. I do not say Evan's name. I say the truth the medic handed me. We are moving for a child and for a ship. We keep our rules until we must break them, then we break them once and for the right reason. When I finish, the crew does what it always does. They tighten lines, they check straps, they make this big thing feel like a boat again. Before midnight, the barometer drops a hair. The western sky takes on a bruised edge. Nothing shouts yet. Out past the bow, the sea lifts and sets like a chest taking a slow breath. We face into it and carry on. Far off, a light blinks once. The weather line reaches us before dawn. The western sky is a smear that looks harmless until the wind turns warm. We bring everyone up 10 minutes early and walk the decks in pairs. Loose lines get a second knot. Hatches locked down. Anything that can roll goes into a bin. I keep the speed low and square us to the swell. The ship likes that. She rides better when we let her choose the angle. Spray starts to fly off the bow. It tastes like metal and rain. The chief engineer calls from below. The favorite feed pump is whining again. We can hold if we keep the plant cool and steady, no bravado. He asks to shut one intake and swap a seal. I approve. It will cost a little speed. We pay it. By mid-morning, the swell is long and heavy. It lifts us like an elevator and sets us down with a groan you feel in your teeth. kids sit on the floor, backs to the wall. No trays, hand food only. The medic makes tea and keeps a pocket of calm. Harris has the forward watch in rain gear. Miller logs wind shifts, pencil behind his ear. Walker clamps the thermal scope to a lashed crate and keeps his hands free. No one speaks unless they need to. Not fear, respect. At noon, the first squall hits. The rain is a wall. We can't see the bow for a long minute. I pull the throttle back and let the hull decide. The rudder talks to my hands through the deck. We take a steep one, then a steeper one, and find the rhythm again. A lashing parts on the aft boat and snaps like a whip. It misses a sailor by a hand. He breathes, then ties the bitter end with a knot I taught on a quiet day. I nod and taste copper. Below, the chief engineer swaps the seal by touch. He builds a gasket from rubber and brings the intake back online. Pressure steadies. He says nothing, goes to the next leak. By late afternoon, the line passes and leaves a mess. Random waves, sky like torn cloth. A solar rack has twisted, one antenna leans. The radio still works, but the whisper is gone. We wait for the next cycle. We do the rounds with flashlights, slow and careful. Bilge alarms chirp once and go quiet. Compartments are dry where it matters, wet where we expect. I log the damage as storm tax and write the cost beside it. A little fuel, a little water, one bent frame, two tired hands. The plant holds. Morale holds. The sea, for now, lets us pass. At least. At 1820, the speaker cracks. 4 short taps. Not our pattern, a new one. Record, I say. And don't breathe. 4 short taps, then a pause, then a clear human voice. Approach slow. No lights. Answer with lantern only. It repeats twice and ends with coordinates south of the islands. A harbor voice. We make the turn and run low. The sea settles as if the storm took its temper with it. By midnight, the glow shows itself, a dark ring on black water lit from within by shaded work lamps. Not a town, not a ship. A circle made of ships and barges lashed end to end, with cars stacked like bricks and scaffolding tying it together. Someone built a wall that floats. Lantern answer, I say. Harris flashes our code with the hooded light. 1 short, 2 short, 1 long. The ring stays dim. Then a gate section slides aside with a grind that is more felt than heard. A skiff ghosts out to meet us. 4 people aboard. Masks, gloves, simple clothes. The lead calls up in a calm voice. You'll drift on that heading. Engines off. We'll walk you with lines we obey. Talking is cheap. Following orders is proof. They square us to a mooring buoy the size of a van and pass lines with long poles. Everything is slow and rehearsed. I see color bands tied on arms, blue, green, yellow, red. But no one explains them, and I don't ask. We can learn without making them waste words. Screening first, the lead says. Small party, no weapons. UV tunnel, then breath test. We keep people, not stories. I leave Harris with the ship and take Miller, the medic, and Walker. We carry nothing but our names. The tunnel is a double row of lamps rigged under a tarp. It hums. We step through with eyes down. At the end, a woman holds a small meter and a clipboard. Breathe, she says. We do. She watches numbers and nods when they settle. Welcome to the Gyre, she adds, like she has said it 1,000 times and still means it. Inside the ring, the sound changes. Water slaps metal, but softer, muffled by nets and rubber. Walkways run along container tops. Gardens grow in cut drums. A man bakes flatbread over a duct that blows warm air. Children sit in a circle and sort screws by size. No one begs, no one stares. Work is the language. We meet their council in a shipping container with a map wall. No ranks, no uniforms. A woman named Reyes speaks for them. Trade only, she says. Short stays. No anchors. Sick go to quarantine. Sick don't leave. Her rules are clear and final. I offer filters, diesel, and a box of spare fuses. We ask for fruit, rice, and time. Tonight, the Gyre is quiet in the useful way. No loud engines, no music, a low hum of pumps and people. Work first, talk later. Color bands explain themselves as we walk. Blue for builders and maintenance, green for food and water, yellow for health, red for perimeter and boats. No one stands with a rifle in the open. Guards watch from behind tarp and mesh where you forget to look. Reyes walks us past stacked containers. A narrow garden runs the length of a roof, drip lines stitched from old hose. Children cut wilted leaves and toss them into a barrel. The air smells like wet rope and bread. A boy hands our medic a warm piece. She breaks it and gives half back. He smiles and returns to sorting screws. We step into their map box, a container skinned with charts. Paper and plastic cover the walls. Grease pencil lines crisscross the coast from Vancouver to Baja and out into the open Pacific. Each line has a note: pirates at dawn, derelict tanker, good nets. A faded weather sheet hangs near a small radio patched with tape. Nav lives here, Reyes says. If you give, you read. If you take, you add. She points to a shelf. We keep signals too. Paper copies, batteries die. Ink stays. Miller runs a finger along a chain of pins pushing east into blue. You track ships? We track stories, Reyes says. Ships are bones. Stories are blood. She pulls a folder dated 9 months ago. Inside are 2 handwritten logs and a printed page torn from an email that never sent. The page holds a ship name I know. NOAA Polaris. My throat tightens. Came over a ham set, then the net died, Reyes says. Position near Palmyra. They kept it short. They were taking families. They asked for clean water and silence. Any more after that? I ask. 1 relay, she says. Weeks later. Same call sign, new voice. A man said they were safe for now and moving east to dodge storms, then nothing. She closes the folder, then taps a small box on the shelf. One other thing. A package from a sailboat that came through and left at dawn. They traded it for rice and line. We never opened it. It's marked for Cascadia or any U.S. Navy ship. We thought it might be you. Reyes sets the box on the table. I don't touch it yet. My hands are steady. My voice is not. Let's trade first, I say. Then I'll open it. The medic squeezes my arm once. Miller watches the door. Walker studies the map. Outside, the water slaps softly against the ring. The room waits with us. We finish the trade before we touch the box. Filters for fruit, diesel for rice, a spool of cord for 2 rolls of copper wire. Fair deals make a place feel level. When the ledgers match, Reyes nods to the box and steps back. I cut the tape with a pocket knife and fold the flaps. Inside is a metal tin wrapped in cloth, a sealed envelope, and a plastic sleeve. The sleeve holds a sheet of printer paper and a smaller page torn from a notebook. The printer sheet is a log, typed in clear font. The notebook page is a drawing. I read the log first. NOAAR/V Polaris. Position, 05 degrees 52 minutes north, 162 degrees 04 minutes west. Status, afloat, low on fuel, water stable, escorting civilians, avoiding major lanes. Broadcasting on schedule at 0600 and 1800. Do not answer in the clear. Do not approach with lights. The message ends with a name. Chief Mate Daniel Kerr. The date is 9 months back. The note below it is short. If you're Navy, tell Lawson we held the line as long as we could. Kids are safe. We're moving east when weather allows. We'll leave markers if we have to ditch the radios. I breathe once and pick up the drawing. It is done in pencil and crayon. A big ship with a round bow and windows. A line of people on the deck, a smaller ship beside it with a smile drawn on the hull the way kids give faces to cars. There is a stick figure on the big ship with a speech bubble. It says Dad. The name in the corner is simple and printed hard, EVAN. My hands don't shake. They feel too large. The medic turns the drawing over and points to 2 dots near the bottom edge like eyes. They are holes from a spiral notebook. Someone tore it out in a hurry. Where did this come from? I ask. Reyes looks at the tin. The sailboat captain said he met them at sea. They were careful. They traded seeds and filter media through a line. The kid handed him the drawing, then someone older added the log. He promised to pass it on to any U.S. ship. The envelope holds a tiny thumb drive taped to a card. On the card is a single word written in block letters: weather. No instructions, no code, just that. "Can we copy it?" Reyes asks. "You can keep it," I say, and mean it. "We'll take the data and the paper." The drawing comes with us. The medic slides the sleeve back into the box and closes the flaps like it might blow away. Miller watches the radio on the shelf as if the next word will climb out of it. "We leave at first light," I say. Outside the container, the ring creaks and the sea shifts as wind turns. A motor coughs somewhere in the dark and goes quiet. Then a horn sounds once, low and close on the far side of the wall. We are not the only ones who heard Polaris. The horn comes again, then a scrape of metal on metal. Reyes is already moving. "Inside the ring," she says. "No running, no shouting." People flow like water through practiced paths. Lamps dim. Nets drop over the open gaps. The Gyre folds itself smaller. I leave Miller with the medic and go back to the ship with Walker. Our decks are quiet and ready. Harris stands by the rail with a hooded lantern. We are guests behind a wall, and guests do not make waves. A skiff noses along the outer rim and bumps off a tire fender. I hear voices but not words, then silence, then a single thud like a heavy bag set down. Reyes meets me at the gangway. "Fishing boat," she says. "New faces. They want to trade at night." We do not trade at night, we wait. 10 long minutes pass. The skiff fades into the dark, then fades again. They are testing the fence, not with force, but with patience. The Gyre answers with stillness. No threats, no taunts. Just a wall that does not blink. When the water settles, we finish the last of our deals. We pass 2 drums of diesel, a box of pump seals, and the generator we woke on the gas carrier. In return, we take fruit, rice, and a crate of dried beans. The medic inspects bandage rolls and a bag of vitamins. She smiles once, tired and real. Reyes walks us back to the map box. "We like you," she says, "but you cannot stay. We do not become a harbor. That is how rings sink." "We would not ask," I say. "We are moving at dawn." She holds out her hand. In her palm lies a key tag stamped with a number and a short piece of blue cord. "If you pass south again, show the cord," she says. "It opens the gate faster." It does not change the rules. We shake hands and make our goodbye quick. Walker lingers by the garden and pockets a single seed packet that Reyes pressed on him. He has never kept a plant alive. Maybe this time he will. Back on the ship, Harris reads me a list. Tools counted, lines coiled, food stowed. The radio room has copied the thumb drive to our spare. The word on it is weather, and that is what we will need. Dawn turns the ring silver. Children line the path and watch in silence. I raise a hand. Some wave back. The gate slides aside. Lines slip clear. The ship eases through like a whale leaving a calm bay. The sea beyond is open and empty. Then the radio whispers our name. The radio doesn't call us Cascadia. It gives a short tone and a plain sentence. Shoals ahead. Keep east of the buoy line. Then silence. No voice, no source. Someone close, someone careful. We clear the gate and bring the speed up a hair. The sea is a field of blue dents where currents argue. I order a slow turn east and tell Harris to post an extra lookout on the bow. Walker takes the scope. Miller stands by the chart with a pencil. By mid-morning, the water shifts from deep green to a paler shade. The bottom rises. Sandbars sit just under the skin like knuckles under cloth. We see the first buoy, a rusted can that leans on its chain and clacks when the swell hits right. A number shows under salt. It means nothing to us, but whoever said it had a plan. Stay east, I say. 1 ship length off the line. We go like that. Buoy to buoy, pause, then listen, move. The engine room keeps it cool. The hull slides like it remembers this from a life before us. I keep one eye on the water and one on the horizon. That is where the shadows appear. First a smear, then the clean line of a flight deck against the sky. Then another farther south, big ships dead still stacked, a carrier graveyard in the shallows. No flags, no smoke, no birds, just steel and sun. The air wobbles in the heat. Boarding? Harris asks. Negative, I say. Not today. We hold our line. The radios stay silent except for a faint hiss of weather talk that never finds a sentence. The buoys grow farther apart. The water takes on a brown tint that means trouble. I taste salt and the memory of mud. A dark patch blooms off our port bow where the current swirls. Miller thinks it is kelp until the wind shifts and the patch ripples in a way kelp does not. It is a mine, old and half sunk, its chain stretched toward a base we cannot see. Starboard 2, I say, keeping my voice level. The ship answers like a patient animal. We miss the mine by a bus length. No one speaks until it is behind us. We mark the spot on the chart. I draw a skull and crossbones for the crew who like pictures better than symbols. Harris grunts once. Walker finally exhales. The carriers fade into haze as noon flattens the light. Ahead, the shoals thin and the water darkens again. The last buoy lists on a broken chain and then is gone. The radio clicks twice. New words this time. Clear water. Do not anchor. We pass the shoals and turn south. At the edge of sight, a thin mast cuts the heat. Something small, fast, and not alone. The mast grows into 3 small boats running together. Catamarans with hulls and tall racks for gear. No flags, no running lights. They keep their distance and pace us on the quarter where it is hardest to watch and steer at the same time. At dusk, a red flare climbs from one of them, hangs and dies. Then a white. Then nothing. 10 minutes later, the pattern repeats, not quite the same timing. It is pretty if you don't know better. We know better. Challenge with lantern, I say. Harris kneels by the rail with the hooded light we built from a baking sheet and an old tripod. He blinks our simple code, 2 short, 1 long, then the question mark we taught ourselves years ago. We wait. The answer comes late and wrong. The blinks are sloppy and out of beat. Walker mutters, "They're copying, not reading." He's right. People who know the code never look pretty. They look bored. We pull one more test. Miller holds up a card with a word only our crew uses when we drill, harbor. Harris blinks the letters. The boats answer with something that could be any word or none. Good enough. We turn a point to starboard and let the swell hide our stern from their view. The boats follow for an hour, never closing, never leaving. A 4th shape joins them from the south, then falls back. They're patient. They want us to be the ones who get curious and stop. I bring us to bare steerage and keep the plant cool. We set a collision watch and say nothing on the air. The medic moves the kids deeper inboard and hands out crackers like it's a party. Jokes start, then stop, then start again. Fear loses interest when it can't find a handhold. At full dark, the boats try another trick. A green flare this time, then a strobe that flashes too fast to look like help. It rattles the eyes. Harris lowers the lantern and rests his hands. We do not answer. 15 minutes later, a new light appears ahead, low and steady, not a flare, not a boat. The pattern is clean. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. Real code, real hands at the switch. It comes from beyond the cats. Separate signals, Miller says. Somebody's stuck out there. Or someone wants us to think so, Walker adds. I give the ship a wide turn that keeps the cats off our stern but points our bow a few degrees closer to the clean light. We hold it there and drift. If the clean light is a trap, it will move. If it's not, it will wait. It waits now. The clean light holds steady while the cats slide between us and it. 4 hulls now, quick, with tall racks bolted to their decks. I see crude tubes for homemade rockets and a mark on one sail. A black sun with short rays. They do not speak. They try to herd. We won't be herded, I say. Lantern only. Harris blinks our last warning. 2 short, 1 long, then a slow sweep across their bows. The cats don't answer. One edges closer until I see a man at the rail with a scarf on his face and a tube on his shoulder. He sways with the chop, patient. "Radio?" Miller asks. "Plain words," I say. He lifts the mic. "Boats off our port quarter, keep clear. We are armed. We will not stop. Do not fire." The cats hold their line. The clean light beyond them blinks once, then 3 times, then stops. Whoever is out there knows what this looks like. I don't want a fight. A fight is noise and holes and time we do not have. But a hint is not enough tonight. "Bring 1 turret to bear," I say, and feel the ship change as the big steel wakes. Motors turn sure. Everyone on deck knows what that sound means. The cats know too. They spread, but not far enough. I call the engine room. We need 1 shot. Low charge far ahead. No deck lights, no show. Just the water talking. He breathes in once. "You'll get it. Now." We plot a point well forward. A safe patch with no boats in deep water. I hate spending a shell, but I hate leaving those boats near the clean light more. Harris reads out the bearing. Walker stands with his hands open and still. The medic has the kids below with their ears covered. "Fire," I say. The ship throws the round. The night blooms white for a blink, then the splash climbs, taller than the cats, and falls with a roar that shoves the sea flat for a heartbeat. Spray rains down on our deck a breath later, full of warning. The cats break. 2 turn south. 1 runs wide and vanishes. The 4th waits too long, then swings late and almost rolls. The man with the tube drops to his knees and crawls for the stern. No one shoots. No one needs to. We hold the course to the clean light. The air tastes electric. My hands stop shaking before I notice. "Signal again," I say. Harris blinks our code, patient. A voice rises from the dark, carried by a speaker that cracks. A woman, breathless. "Do not fire again," she says. "Please, we have children aboard." Miller grips the rail. "Where are you?" "Dead ahead," she says. "White hull." We cut power. We have no lights. We have your drawing." "What drawing?" "The one that says Dad." The word hits like a second splash. The clean light blinks twice. Then a rocket streaks from the south and draws a white needle across the night. The rocket misses wide and dies in spray. The flash shows where it came from. I swing our bow to put steel between the cats and the small white hull ahead. "Short burst, waterline only," I say. The deck gun coughs 3 times into the dark. Splashes walk toward the shooter. He loses nerve and turns away. The others follow. The black suns shrink and vanish. "White hull, speak," I call. "We're here," the woman says, "on a sloop Windfall. 2 adults, 3 kids. We cut power when they found us. Hold position." "We'll screen you," I say. We slide alongside at a safe distance. No lines, no boarding. She holds up a dry bag on a boat hook. Walker reaches with our own hook and draws it in. Inside are 2 things. A copy of the drawing and a slip of paper in a plastic sleeve. The drawing is Evan's. The copy is rough, but the pencil strokes match. The paper carries 4 coordinates in a column and a note. "Wake window." Under it, a time in UTC and 3 words. "Tower still talks." "Where did you get this?" I ask. "From a research boat," she says. "Months ago. They said a weather tower on Wake Island still has a dish that points itself. Old satellites pass twice a day. If you aim right, you can pull updates. They called it the Wake window. Lowercase, like a joke. When's the next pass?" She reads the time off the note. "We have 14 hours. "Can you make it?" she asks. "Yes," I say. "Do you need anything now?" "Water filters," she says, and then quieter. "And a minute." We pass 2 filter cartridges in a net bag plus bread plus a set of batteries. She passes back the hook and says thank you like it hurts. I don't ask their story. They don't ask ours. We part without lights. The sea swallows the sloop. I bring the ship to the new heading. The plant hums low and even. The medic takes the drawing to the radio room and tapes it above the chart. Miller plots the 4 points. They shape a corridor that will keep the dish clear of the horizon when the satellite rises. We run quiet through the night. No music, no talk that isn't work. Before dawn, the air thins and the sky brightens. The weather holds. The bent antenna we worried over since the storm sits straighter after Walker shims its base with a coin. At H-hour -10, we power the transmitter and the dish motor. The tower on wake stands like a finger on the horizon to starboard. "Window in 5, Miller says. "Then let's open it," I answer. The tower on wake looks empty from the water, a thin stack of steel with a dish that knows where to face. We keep well clear of the reef and let the current hold us steady abeam. The dish motor on our mast hums, slow and sure. Miller watches the clock and points when the second hand hits the mark. "Window," he says. We key the link and send a short, polite call. Weather request, position, heading, no names. Static, then a rush like sand in a pipe. Data starts to climb down the wire in chunks. Old satellites still circle whether we deserve them or not. They give us wind arrows, pressure lines, sea height, and a scatter of red where storms like to be born. The medic reads the gust map aloud. 2 days of clean air, she says. Then trouble to the east. Miller opens a text packet at the bottom. It is thin, but not empty. A list of ships that talked to the tower this year. Most are fishing names and half-dead yachts. One line stands taller in my head than the rest. Polaris. Last contact 9 months. Fuel low. Water stable. Moving east on squalls. Avoid voice. Drop markers. There is no voice. There is no date that helps a father. It is still something. We send a thank you burst and a map note. Shoals marked, mine spotted, ring safe. Then we build the thing we came here to build. We tape our rules to the air. Waypoint Protocol version 1, I say. Plain words. No bravado. What we've seen, not what we fear. Miller types while I speak. Name, position, heading, weather window times. Hazards, false flares south of the shoals, patient cats with black sun marks, a lagoon that poisons filters. Aid on board, limited fuel, spare seals, one generator that wants a gentle hand. Offer. Passersby may take a copy of the data and leave any note that helps the next pair of hands. No docking, no exceptions. We are a waypoint, not a port. We send it 3 times on the mesh the tower still reaches. The dish arcs and settles. The motor cools. The ship relaxes in the light chop as if a knot eased somewhere we could not see. Then the wire wakes again. A single line drops into our queue, not from the tower but from a small relay farther west. Received and mirrored, it says. Cascadia, hold course. Request handshake when able. Miller looks at me. Another waypoint? Maybe, I say. Maybe a friend. The barometer ticks down a hair. The wind shifts half a point. East darkens by a shade you can taste. Secure the link, I say, and rig for weather. The dish keeps its quiet watch as we swing south to meet whatever is building out there. They find us at noon. 5 boats in a loose V, wooden hulls with patched sails and small diesels that cough in rhythm. Nets hang like tired flags. The lead boat lifts a pole with a white rag. We slow and hold them to starboard. No lines, no boarding. I call across with a cone on the rail. State what you need. Fuel and tie-up, the leader answers. We have families aboard. We fish at night. We sleep by day. The sea took our pier. We can spare a little fuel, I say. We cannot be your peer. He nods once. Then teach us a route that does not drown the children. That I can do. We lay out a plan that keeps them moving but less alone. Simple on purpose. We set a time to depart at dusk, a speed they can hold, and a line that skirts the worst chop. We run ahead by a mile with lights off. They keep 2 boat lengths apart and answer only to lantern code. If weather turns, they turn. If one breaks, 2 fall back and tow while the rest hold clear water. We will not stop for every flare. We will stop for 1 long and 2 short. Everyone repeats the rules. We trade for what they need most. They give fish and salt and a bag of limes. We give filters, a chart with pencil marks, and a small tin of grease that smells like home to anyone raised around engines. The medic checks each boat with a quiet meter and says yes or no with her eyes. She does not say no today. Two captains want more. "Let us come inside your wall," one says. "We will lash to your rail. One night, the children will sleep. If I say yes to you," I tell him, "I say yes to the next 10. Then we all sink together. Keep moving. That is how we live." He looks at the waves, then at his crew, and nods. At dusk, we form up. The sea breathes slow. We pass the first hour without a word. When a squall rises, the line bends but does not break. A net fouls a prop on the last boat. 2 peel off and fix it while the rest widen their gap. We count to 60, then to 100, and see their light again. Near midnight, the radio rustles. A calm voice says, "Waypoint mirrored. Corridor ahead clear for 4 miles. After that, expect Chop." Miller underlines the note. The leader lifts his lantern and gives us 2 short blinks of thanks. Then a shape slips across the moon and the sea changes its sound. The shape that crossed the moon was only a bird riding the wind, slow, a shadow that wanted to be a worry. It passes. The sea keeps its old rhythm. We keep the convoy moving until dawn and then peel off, leaving them to a line we drew in pencil and trust. Morning is bright and brittle. The decks smell like salt, rope, and fried batter from a pan someone snuck to the rail. Work hums. It almost feels like a day from before until it doesn't. 2 sailors wait for me by the forward ladder. Harris stands with them but lets them speak. They are young, good at what they do, and thin from a year of short sleep. One carries a small duffel. The other holds a folded note. "We want off at the next safe stop," the first says. "We heard there's land south with farms that still trade." The second hands me the note. It is from his sister, found in a bucket of mail at the Gyre. It says there is a place on the mainland where people plant in old soccer fields and keep night watches from the roof. It says they need hands and pay in beans and peace. I read it twice and give it back. I ask them to tell me the worst part of this ship. They say, the waiting, the long quiet, the days when the ocean feels like a wall of the same color. They say the rules make sense but leave no oxygen for a life. They are not wrong. "We can put you ashore if we find a safe place," I say, "but I won't break the convoy to chase a rumor." They nod. "We'll do our jobs until then," the first says. "We're not quitting. We're choosing." After they go, the medic finds me with a small list. 2 more want out if we find ground, a cook who misses smoke from real wood, and a deckhand whose father may be in that same town. The ship isn't home for everyone. It is a bridge. Bridges are meant to be crossed. I call a short meeting on the deck where the wind can carry anger away. I say leaving is not betrayal. I say staying is not sainthood. The only sin is lying about which one you want. People listen. Some stare at the horizon as if it will answer for them. Miller writes our heading on the rail and underlines it twice. The radio cracks with a calm voice we know now. Corridor clear 1 mile, then a turn, then a gift. "What gift?" Harris asks the air. "Look down," the voice says. We do. A line of drums rides the swell ahead, bright and deep blue, sealed and marked with a word we haven't seen in months. Diesel. We recover 6 drums, all sealed and bright as new fruit. Each one lifts from the water with a cheerful hollow sound that feels like grace. We lash them under the boat deck and move on, bow pointed at the blank spot of ocean that once held a tidy atoll on postcards. Palmyra lives in my head as green and white. Out here it is only a bearing and a hope. The sea turns glassy by noon. Flying fish skip like thrown stones. A light breeze brings the smell of wet rope and old coral. Harris watches depth even though we are still far from shoal water. Miller spreads 3 charts and a plastic overlay as if paper can hold this much longing in place. Near dusk, the first marker shows. A plastic bottle painted white, tied to a thin line, blinking with a faint solar light. Walker hooks it and brings it aboard. Inside the bottle's twin walls is a rolled strip of mylar with letters scrawled in permanent marker. "Keep north of reef. Do not anchor. Watch for rats." Not poetry, but it lands like it is. We slow to a crawl. The horizon lifts a low shadow straight ahead. Palmyra is there, a smear of palms and a slash of pale surf. Between us and it, a scatter of floats marks a lane. Some blink, some don't. All are lined like someone's careful breath. Another bottle, Walker says. This one holds a laminated card and a thin flash drive in a zip bag. On the card, Polaris Drop 3, Day 370, families safe, moving east at weather windows. If you find this, leave a note inside lid of red drum on the mooring. A small arrow points to starboard. Another bottle, Walker says. This one holds a laminated card and a thin flash drive in a zip bag. On the card, Polaris Drop 3, Day 370, families safe, moving east at weather windows. If you find this, leave a note inside lid of red drum on the mooring. A small arrow points to starboard. We find the red drum tied to a mooring ball the size of a truck tire. It is scarred and honest. Harris eases us near while Miller fishes the lid with a boat hook. Under the lid is a dry cavity with a notebook, a pencil, and 4 pages of tight writing. The last entry is neat and firm. Squall's good, children strong. We had a shore scare, no landings now. 1 small bite contained. Tower window gives clean weather east in 2 days. If Lawson reads this, we will make noise on the hour when we can. We will not show lights. We will keep the kids below. Hold course. There is no signature that helps a father. There is a word at the bottom underlined twice. Hold. I write our note on the next page. Name, date, heading. A thank you, a promise. I add a small sketch of our ship that Evan would recognize the way he always drew the bow too round and the anchor too big. We do not go inside the lagoon. We see movement on the causeway, quick, low, wrong. The medic says no shore, and no one argues. We back away from the line of floats and circle wide in water that has a voice I do not trust. Full dark comes fast near the equator. The sky opens with more stars than makes sense. The sea goes from glass to ink. We kill the forward light and leave only the red glow of the compass. At the top of the hour, I key the radio and say nothing. The speaker answers with a small scrape, then a breath, then a whisper that is not a ghost and not a recording. Dad? Silence. Then again, closer, a thread I can hold. Dad, it's me. The second I hear his voice, I want to answer like a parent, not a captain. I don't. The line crackles and dies. We wait 5 breaths and call again with silence. Nothing comes back but the soft chew of static. We do what we can control. We make our message clean. Miller brings the template we sketched at Wake. We keep it plain. Who we are, where we are, what we've seen, and what we offer. No drama, no names of children, no promises we can't keep. Read it once, I say. He does. It fits in 30 seconds. It starts with Waypoint Cascadia and ends with Hold course. If you hear us, blink 3. We pick 4 windows each day. Dawn, noon, dusk, midnight. We broadcast on shortwave and VHF, then repeat in light with the hooded lantern. If the sea is loud, we wait. If the sky is bright, we shorten the words. If a boat answers wrong, we go dark. We add a small code to help the careful ones. Every day we change a single word in the second line. Harbor, anchor, hull. A listener who knows us will echo the day's word. A listener who is guessing won't. Walker tapes the rules above the set. The medic writes them again by hand for the kids who stand watch and don't want to ask twice. Harris trains 2 deckhands on lantern work until their wrists move without thought. Before the first window, we tidy the ship the way you do before guests, even if no one comes. Lines coiled, deck clear, antenna retied. The hull sits in the water like it has been waiting its whole life to speak plainly. At dawn, we send the standard 3 times. The sea swallows it and gives us back a gull's cry and the slap of our bow. That is fine. Standards are maps, not doors. At noon, the quiet relay from the west returns. Cascadia mirrored and clean. We're calling ourselves Beacon 9. If you keep this tone and pace, we'll pass your words along. If you drift, we'll fix you. It's the best kind of help. No lectures, no heroes, just a friend who moves ink. At dusk, we try the silent call again. We wait with the mic open. The speaker answers with a tap, a breath, and a boy who is careful now. Can't talk long. We move at night. Keep the lights dead. We'll whistle on the hour. I close my eyes and let the air out slow. Then we'll be there, son, I say and mean it. We hang the lantern where only the horizon can see it and watch for 3 blinks. Night swallows yesterday and hands you a truer line. We hold ours. At the top of the hour, the speaker cracks and gives us 3 soft whistles, spaced and steady. I answer with 3 hooded blinks. No names, no cheers. Just a line between 2 moving things. The sea listens when you don't brag. It pays out luck in small, exact coins. We take its gifts. Keep south by east, the quiet relay adds. Squalls building behind you. Copy, I say. We don't thank the sky. We respect it and work. The crew settles into the new rhythm. Harris wears the lantern strap like it belongs there. Miller tunes the set by ear and can feel drift before the needle shows it. Walker started a pot from the ring's seeds. A green curl pushes through and looks confused to be alive. The medic sleeps in short bursts and wakes smiling anyway. That is a kind of command I cannot learn. We pass what we know in short sentences. Shoals here, false flares there, a ring that keeps its rules and lives because of it. Beacon 9 mirrors each note until the map looks less like a wound and more like a plan. Small circles pop up on the chart with plain names. Beacon 4, tall mast, harbor east. Waypoints, not ports. Lights you don't tie to. On day 386, we pick up a faint burst from the east. 2 syllables that thump through the room. Da, then static, then a scrape as if a hand covered the mic. We don't chase. We move to the window and hold it open. At midnight, the 3 whistles return. The line holds. I write the standard again in the log, careful and square. Waypoint Cascadia, position, heading, offer, rules. I add a final sentence I did not plan. We are listening. If you can hear us, save your strength. Blink 3. We never become a harbor. We never close the book. We keep the chair and not the cabin. We tape the rules where scared hands can see them. We tell the truth we can carry. We stay small and hard to hit. We turn when the sea tells us the smart time to turn. We hold course when the sea only wants to test us. Near dawn, a red line lifts on the horizon, too thin for storm and too straight for luck. The medic leans beside me and doesn't speak. Harris rests the lantern against his knee. Miller holds the next word on his tongue as if saying it too soon might break it. Steady, I tell the helmsman. No lights. We slide forward until the line becomes a mast, then a hull, then the shape of a ship that learned to live by keeping quiet. A whistle blows 3 times, soft as breath. I lift the mic and do not introduce myself. I speak the standard instead, the way we agreed. The last sentence is simple and true. Hold course. Stay moving. Stay waypoint. The answer arrives in the oldest language there is out here. 1 blink, 2, 3. If this log reached you, pass it on. Like, subscribe, and leave a comment below telling us where you're listening from.